Los Angeles 1960s. A single street name, 18th, echoes through alleyways, whispered in fear and pride alike. What started as a handful of teenagers kicked out of another gang would evolve into one of the most powerful and unpredictable criminal networks on Earth. Tonight we're diving deep into the shadows of Barrio 18. From its origins on 18th Street to its metamorphosis into a transnational empire that even law enforcement calls a state within a state. But the real question is, who controls it now? And how far does its reach truly go? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll realize that the gang you thought you knew is still evolving, and it might already be closer to your world than you think. If you're new here, subscribe to Gangster Chronicles, where we uncover the secret wars, power plays, and betrayals behind America's deadliest gangs. Chapter 1. The Birth of an Outsider. It began on the margins, young immigrants shut out by both society and other gangs. Los Angeles in the 1960s was a city of invisible borders. The Clanton 14 gang ruled the Rampart district, but they had a rule: no outsiders. Out of that rejection came defiance. Those cast out chose a name: 18th Street. It wasn't just a block, it was a declaration, a promise that anyone, Mexican, Salvadoran, Guatemalan, or otherwise, could belong. Chapter 1 highlights: Origin of rebellion, formed after rejection by Clanton 14 in LA's Rampart district. Open door ethos, first multi-ethnic Latino gang, accepting all who were excluded. Symbolism of 18, the street became identity, code, and flag. First expansion, small cliques appear in MacArthur Park and Pico Union. Back then, nobody imagined the name would cross oceans. They were just kids defending a corner. But a spark lit in desperation can burn for generations. Chapter 2. The Rise and the Rumble. By the 1980s, the streets of LA were alive. Gang colors, music, violence. But 18th Street did something few expected. They welcomed everyone. That made them grow faster than any other crew. The streets around Venice, Inglewood, and Koreatown started to see tags, Eighteenth, and that signature 18 crown spray-painted on walls that once belonged to others. Chapter 2 highlights: the ethnic breakthrough. Multi-ethnic membership allowed rapid growth across LA. Spreading roots. New cliques emerged in the Valley, Inglewood, and East LA. Recruitment through inclusion. Outcasts and immigrants found family in the gang. Early rivalries. Collisions with MS-13 begin as territories overlap. Police reports from the time mention a new pattern. Graffiti that appeared overnight, like an infection. What no one knew then was that this infection was about to jump borders. Chapter 3. Code of the Street. By the 1990s, 18th Street had become a machine. Loose structure, tight loyalty. They called each subgroup a clique, each with its own rules but bound by one law, the number 18. Initiation was brutal, 18 seconds of beating no less. They used Roman numerals, Eighteenth, blue and black colors, and rituals that felt ancient even though they were barely a decade old. Chapter 3. Highlights. Structure of power. Cliques run semi-independently but honor central symbols. Leadership, palabreros, inside prison command outside operations. Symbols and rituals, tattoos, Roman numerals, and the 18-second initiation. Code of silence, betrayal equals erasure, no exceptions. Inside their meetings, members spoke in slang, outsiders couldn't decode. Every gesture had meaning. To them, the number 18 wasn't just a mark, it was a faith. Chapter 4. The Street Wars of Los Angeles. By the late 1980s, Los Angeles had become a chessboard of rival empires. The LAPD called it a gang crisis, but for the men of 18th Street, it was a revolution. Drive-bys weren't random, they were strategy. Tagging wasn't art, it was a declaration of control. Each corner in Pico Union, Inglewood, and South Central carried a price and a body count. Under the surface, it was a silent civil war for the soul of Los Angeles. Chapter 4. Highlights. Territorial battles. 18th Street fought Crips, Bloods, and rival Latino sets for control. The Rampart legacy. Police corruption scandals in the 90s linked officers to gang dealings. Weapon flow. Guns from Central America flooded LA through black market networks. The Invisible War. Hundreds dead, but the public barely noticed, until media cameras arrived. In neighborhoods like MacArthur Park, the sound of automatic gunfire was so common it became background noise. Yet inside that chaos, the gang hardened. 18th Street wasn't just surviving anymore, it was training. Chapter 5. From the shadows to the system. Every empire needs infrastructure. and by the early 1990s, 18th Street had built one. They infiltrated jobs, warehouses, trucking routes. Fake IDs and stolen cars became their currency. Some officers were bribed, others looked away. The gang had evolved, not just on the streets, but within the city itself. Chapter 5. Highlights. Economic expansion. Car theft, forgery, and drug transport became organized trade. Money laundering. Small businesses and nightclubs used to wash gang profits. Corruption web. Police, mechanics, and notaries occasionally folded under bribery. Strategic silence. Law enforcement underestimated 18th Street's reach inside city systems. By the mid-1990s, FBI reports warned that 18th Street had crossed a line from street gang to criminal syndicate. But just as the authorities began to notice, the gang's next transformation was already in motion. Chapter 6. The Deportation Explosion. In the mid-1990s, the United States tightened immigration laws. Thousands of gang members were deported to Central America, but they didn't vanish. They multiplied. El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala soon saw graffiti that looked eerily familiar. Eighteenth, Barrio 18. A gang once born in California was now re-rooting in the very countries its members had fled. Chapter 6. Highlights. Deportations of the 1990s. Thousands returned to Central America, spreading the culture. New power base. 18th Street becomes Barrio 18 with its own Salvadoran hierarchy. The split. 2005. Internal war creates two factions, Sereños and Revolucionarios. Transnational reach. Operations expand into extortion, transport, and human smuggling. It's a twist no one saw coming. A gang built in America comes back to haunt the Americas. Deportation became their expansion plan, accidentally written by policymakers. Chapter 7. Crime, War, and the State. By the 2010s, Barrio 18 was no longer just a gang. It was a parallel power. In San Salvador, they controlled bus routes, markets, even neighborhood curfews. Rivalry with MS-13 erupted into open war. Thousands dead. Communities trapped between two forces, both claiming to protect them. Governments responded with iron fist policies, mass arrests, emergency laws, supermax prisons. But with every raid, the gang adapted. Chapter 7. Highlights. Criminal enterprise, drugs, extortion, weapons, and document fraud. Rivalry with MS-13, territorial wars shape Central American violence. Law enforcement pushback, mass arrests and extraditions 2020-25. Adaptation, shift to digital coordination and crypto laundering rumors. A former agent once said, "You can arrest a man, but you can't arrest a network." Even inside maximum security, leaders send orders through coded messages hidden in letters to family. The empire of 18 still breathes behind bars. Chapter 8. Escape or Evolution. As of today, the 18th Street Gang exists in dozens of countries, from Los Angeles to Madrid, from Tegucigalpa to Queens. But the question remains, can you ever leave? Former members say leaving is like defecting from an army. It takes luck, faith, and distance. Some join rehabilitation projects or church programs, others simply disappear. Governments try to combat the root causes: poverty, broken families, deportation cycles. But solutions move slower than the streets. Chapter 8 highlights. Current presence. 18th Street operates across the US, Europe, and Latin America. Leaving the gang. Few manage it without protection or relocation. Rehabilitation efforts. Community and faith programs offer second chances. Future outlook. Digital communication makes the network harder to erase. In the end, the story of 18th Street is about identity. What people become when the world refuses to see them. Every generation writes a new chapter, and the question is, who will write the last one? If you've watched this far, you now understand why the 18th Street Gang is more than a headline. It's a mirror of our time. This is Gangster Chronicles. Like and subscribe if you want more deep dives into the real stories behind the world's most dangerous gangs. Comment below. Do you think gangs like Barrio 18 can ever be dismantled? Or will they simply evolve into something else? Remember, understanding the darkness is the first step toward light.